You know, the most difficult part about going through a separation or a divorce with a narcissist when you're a man, it's not the obvious stuff that people think, like losing your kids or losing all of your stuff or, the dissolution of the life that you thought that you were living, although that is still some of the most destabilizing things you've ever experienced in your life. I think the hardest thing for a man, and I can only speak for men, about separation from a female narcissist is that all of the things that she used to say about you are true. Like, we wouldn't say them like that exactly, but all of the things that she used to pick on and belittle us and demean us about, the reason that they sting so bad is because we know that inherently they are a little bit true. And if you're a man who ended up with a female narcissist, then there is an excellent chance that there was somebody in your childhood or your past that used to talk to you the same way. And so what we have to remember as men and as human beings in general is that our thoughts, the way that we believe, our paradigms shape our reality. As within, so without. And so we have to understand that our internal thoughts and feelings are a direct result or a direct reflection of our external reality. Yes, there's Jesus in the Bible, and you guys know that I live for Jesus. And God made science. And so we know that we get what we think about in this realm. That's how this universe was created. And that when we can fall in alignment with God and his purpose, we can find the assignment and the purpose that he designed us for. Now, we can attract anything that we want in this world, and that's the problem. We end up with a narcissist, and they're telling us these awful things. And yeah, we're not perfect, and we weren't perfect in the relationship or the marriage, but we certainly didn't deserve what we got. I know that, you know that, the narcissist knows that. But the reason that it hurts so bad when we leave is that we're left with all of this stuff that we're holding on to, and all of these things that she used to say to us and about us. And the problem with that is it rings true because they're insecurities of ours, because they're things that we never fixed or have never cleaned up or have never taken care of ourselves. One of the hardest things about leaving the relationship is deciding to leave. And when men reach out to me and they're like, should I go? Should I stay? The first thing I always tell them is, listen, you have to make sure that your side of the street is clean. That was the biggest thing in my relationship. I stayed for a year longer because I was like, I have to make sure that I personally have done every single thing that I can possibly do to make sure that it's not me. Again, this is not about passing blame. Once I realized that everything she was saying, though, was true, that's why I kept giving in. I kept being like, dang it. She's right. I did do that. I did say I was going to do this and didn't. I did promise the kids this and not. Like, all of these broken promises and all of these loose standards. And I was okay with being mediocre. I was okay with taking what would ever come to me because I would always shut down when things got too tough. That was the way I was because I was raised by a narcissist. The toughest thing about leaving a narcissistic relationship or marriage once you're out is all of those voices that are in your head. The ones that have been there since childhood, the one that have been in there in the relationship. And it's literally the same ones that we whisper to ourselves. That's why they ring so true. So men get out of a narcissistic relationship. They're all alone by themselves. They've probably lost all of their money, all of their kids, all of their friends, their reputation. If they're an entrepreneur or business owner, probably their business. They've lost everything, and now you're sitting there, and all you can think about is all the things that she used to say and how much of a piece of a shit that you are. And these things, they replay over and over and over in your head. And then we usually give in to some sort of a vice or a distraction or end up ending it all. And so the only reason I'm making this video is, one, bro, like, let's just talk about the elephant in the room. You have things that you need to clean up. You know that. And that's okay. Doesn't make you a terrible person. It means that you're a man who needs to learn how to lead himself. When I got out of my narcissistic relationship, I didn't know how to lead myself. Yeah, I had made millions of dollars, and I had helped my clients make millions of dollars, and I had helped over 13,000 paid clients and all these numbers and numbers and scale, all these things. It was all facade. Because in the end of the day, I didn't know how to truly lead myself, which is why I always gave away my power to women. Oh, I just go where she tells me to. I'm like a balloon floating in the wind. My wife, she just keeps me there. Oh yeah, I'm like a banana. I go with the bunch. Like just literally giving away my power. Giving it away. When you just give away your power, do you think that some good, holy, righteous person is going to be the one that comes and takes a hold of it? Or do you think it's going to be some evil, sinister force, some force that the devil, that the enemy sends to you? I didn't realize any of this because I wasn't a religious person. I didn't know Jesus. I had never read the Bible. I had studied every single religion that there was, all of them, but was standing against Christianity. No way, not the Bible, not Jesus. All of the money, all the science, all the psychedelics, all of the mentorship, none of it could change anything. So why am I telling you this? Because if you're getting out of a relationship that's narcissistic, or you're getting divorced from a female narcissist right now, what you're realizing is, damn, a lot of the things that she said are true, and that stings. And so there's only one thing that you can do about it. There's only one thing. Here. I'm going to read this to you because I had never read the Bible before. And this is last year. I'm out of the relationship and I'm walking my path every day because I don't know why. I had already tried to take my life when I was in my 20s. And when I tried to take my life, thank God I woke up the next day in the hospital, in the emergency room. I was all by myself, and I was like, oh my God, thank God I'm alive. But the next thought was, dang, I'm even so worthless, I can't even kill myself, right? That's programming from the narcissist. And so why I'm telling you this is because I knew that from that experience, and I went on to build my professional speaking career around attempted suicide because my best friend a few years later would call me. I would ignore his call, send it to voicemail, and he took his life a month later. And that's what got me on a journey of becoming a speaker and talking about your mess is your message. I've always believed in God. I've always been very spiritual. I've always believed in the universe and talked about prayers and blessings and yada, 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 but I never had this and I never had Jesus. So when I got out of the relationship, I knew I didn't want to kill myself. I knew that someday my kids may come looking for me or the truth. And I knew that I wanted them to find the truth about me and their mother. Not because I wanted to get back at them, because I wish, dang, somebody would have told me about my stepdad when I was that age. So I wouldn't have done all this BS and gone through all this toxic relationships my entire life. Because nobody spoke up. And that's the problem with narcissism, is that nobody speaks up about the narcissist. Nobody speaks up to them. We all just get silent, and our silence is our compliance. But that's another talk for another time. What I'm saying is I got out of the relationship. I knew I didn't want to kill myself. I knew that someday my kids may come looking for me. And whenever they did come looking for me, I wanted them to find a version of me that I knew that I wasn't when I was there. I knew that what she was saying was true, and I just wasn't fixing those things. It's on me. And that's the thing that most men are not willing to accept, is that you feel these things that sting because what she was saying was true. And now that she's gone, all that's left is the memory of those things that she was saying. And you're like, that's, it makes you mad. It makes you angry. It makes you resentful. It makes you rage. And you go out and hurt yourself by getting drunk or doing drugs or getting in fights or sleeping with women or doing whatever debauchery is not making you any more of the man that you promised her and your kids you were, that you never lived up to. So when I got out of the relationship, I was like, I'm not going to kill myself. I fell on my knees. I didn't call him Father yet because I didn't know him like that. And I said, God, just use me. Just use me. Just use me, God. Use me as a living sacrifice, as an example to every man what not to do. Use me as an example. I keep wanting to say Father, but I didn't call him Father then. I said, use me, God. So no man has to lose his kids and his wife like I did. Like use me as a living sacrifice. And then I set out very explicitly to become the type of man who stopped breaking promises to himself and everybody around him. That was it. Non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. I started walking 10,000 steps every day. Non-negotiable. Never missed. 100 burpees a day. Non-negotiable. Never missed. 100 push-ups a day. Non-negotiable. Never missed. I got 100% sober. Non-negotiable. Never missed. I changed my entire life. Everything. I started making content online. And one day somebody said to me, hey man, have you ever read the Bible? I was like, no, bro, no. They're like, have you ever read Romans 12:1? I'm like, no, what is Romans 12:1? I'm going to read it to you right now. This may be the first time that you're ever hearing it. Maybe you've been beating your body to death, sacrificing it. You want to be a living sacrifice to God to say, yo, you know what? I've made mistakes, God, but just use me as a cautionary tale. If that's you, then this is for you too. This is what Romans 12 says. I'm not going to go into the background. Just listen to the words. I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your true and proper worship. Verse 2, do not be conformed to the world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is it good and perfect, acceptable will. I'm reading out the ESV, which I don't usually read out of. So when I read that, I was like, oh my gosh, I get it. God's saying that because I believe in science, and I know that where focus goes, attention flows. I know that my external reality is a direct reflection of my internal reality because of quantum physics. I know that thoughts become things. So when I read that, I was like, oh my gosh, my body's a living sacrifice. The more I can empty this vessel out, the more in alignment I'll get with the message from God, which will put me on assignment to what I'm supposed to do. I thought to myself, oh my gosh, well, if that's in the Bible, I thought, what else is in the Bible? And so I set out to read the Bible, not to meet Jesus, not to get saved. I wasn't looking for any of that. I wanted to increase my Christ consciousness by reading the Bible and mining its success and wealth principles. But when you actually dive into this book and you read it with intention, you cannot be anything but transformed. I was trying to take a stand against Jesus and the Bible. I was trying to just go in there and get for me, and it didn't work. I was completely transformed by the book. So I just wanted to make this video on this Sunday real quick. It's cold out here in Illinois. It's -9 right now. Whatever the wind chill is. -9 plus whatever the wind chill is, right? Or minus whatever the wind chill is. Something. Point of it is you guys message me. You guys watch the content every week. I'm not telling you anything crazy. I'm not some religious zealot that grew up in the church. It's like, you got to repent and renounce. Like, bro, I am a sinner, a wicked, wretched, sinful man. I was a violent criminal, okay? I turned from those ways and was trying to give my life to a better cause. I'm not like trying to preach at you. I'm telling you, what's the hardest thing about leaving a narcissistic relationship? It's that you have to sit there and go, damn, all those things that she used to say about me are actually true. What am I going to do about it? And I'm telling you, the best self-help program is right here. It's in the Bible. But you go, Marshall, I've never read the Bible. I don't know how to read it. I don't understand it. Oh, no worries, dude. I actually made my coaching company that I used to do for like $15,000 a pop for 90 days. I took that coaching company and everything that people used to pay me for high performance and leadership and life coaching. I shut that whole thing down and I took it over here and I set it down, and then I put the gospel and Jesus in it in the Bible. I named it Men's Bible Club. I opened it up and it's literally $5 a month. So if you truly want help transforming your life, recovering from narcissistic abuse, conquering the CPTSD that you're suffering from, the codependency issues that you've always dealt with, the addictions that plague you that you can't get rid of, I'm telling you, bro, there's nothing magical. There's just a bunch of dudes like me, like you, that are inside of this thing called school that I named Men's Bible Club, and we're just going through this together, and we're growing in Scripture, we're deepening our walk with Christ, and we're becoming the men that we promised our families we were going to be that never were, the man that God created us to be. So if you're into that, you should join mensbibleclub.com. But either way, I'm telling you, it's not until you clean up the things that make you insecure that she was quote unquote right about that you're going to start to see your life change and that you're going to see your heart and your mind transformed. I love you, boys, and I'll see you soon.